Is President Trump trying to tank the stock market in the short term? I know it sounds crazy. However, when you see everything I'm about to show you in this video, your eyebrows are going to be raised, and it actually makes a lot of sense, and it has nothing to do with, causing people to lose value in their portfolios, and it has everything to do with making the Federal Reserve blink in the short term so that we can have a better future going forward. So we're going to get right into it, but before we do, my name is Clayton Kearns from TrendingPolitics.com. Please, before we continue, make sure to like this video. It helps us out so much more than you know, and also subscribe to the channel so you can see all the videos we're posting here. So it's been a rough ride for the stock market over the past few weeks, and people are wondering, like, what's going on? President Trump is normally the biggest cheerleader for the stock market in the world. Like, what's different this time? We are living in a very different world. He was handed an economy from Joe Biden that was suffering inflation. It was just an artificial economy. And, going into the 2024 election, they're like, oh, this is the greatest economy in the world. And you have millions and millions of people saying, guys, we can't afford eggs. We can't afford gas right now. And so President Trump is actually potentially deploying a strategy that for the short term could cause some pain, but long term, we're going to see one of the greatest things we have ever seen. And so here's a little cryptic message from him in his interview yesterday with Maria Bartiromo of Fox News.
You said, look, we're going to have a disruption, but we're okay with that. Is that what you meant? The stock market going down was the disruption? What other disruption were you alluding to?
Look, what I have to do is build a strong country. You can't really watch the stock market. If you look at China, they have a 100-year perspective. We have a quarter. We go by quarters.
That's true.
And you can't go by that. You have to do what's right. What we're doing is we're building a tremendous foundation for the future. Tremendous foundation.
You said...
It's so good. Like, this man, he is truly, truly brilliant. I mean, like he says, China looks out in decades and hundreds of years. The United States is sitting here saying one day to another, oh my gosh, the sales over here are suffering, like we're all going to die. Trump is taking the long-term approach, and people they don't know what to do when the status quo is challenged. And so what people are out there are theorizing is that President Trump is intentionally letting the stock market do its thing. I mean, last week he even said, hey, I'm not looking at the stock market right now, because he's focused on something better. He's focused on something more long-term. And one of the things, the benefits that are coming forward is that interest rates are going down. Take a look at another cryptic remark he said yesterday.
Guess what? Interest rates are down for the last 3-4 days at good levels. I mean, when you add interest rates, you're talking about it's gone down. I've been saying, let's get interest rates down. Nobody ever gets rich when the interest rates are high because people can't borrow money. Interest rates are going down. You know what else is going down? What have I been trying to get down?
Oil.
Energy. Energy's going down. I'd love to see energy go down.
So do you see how things are working in the background? This isn't just so black and white, like, oh my gosh, he's trying to tank the stock market. He doesn't know what he's doing. No, this man always has a strategy. And anytime the left and anytime the general public is screaming from the rooftops that the world is ending, has that ever actually come to fruition? No. Sometimes you have to take the counterintuitive approach. And that is exactly what is happening here. So now we're going to get into some content here where it actually explains this more in detail about why the stock market going down in the short term is actually kind of a good thing for the long term, okay? And it all has to do with Jay Powell and the Fed. You see, earlier this year, Jay Powell did not cut interest rates. President Trump said to do it. He didn't. So Trump said, okay, watch this. And so now what we're seeing with the tariffs and the uncertainty is the Federal Reserve is being put into a corner, and I think they're going to cave pretty soon. So let's take a look at this super interesting thread here by a financial X account here. He's really good. You should give him a follow. It's Amit is Investing. He says, why Donald Trump wants the market to crash in the short term. This chart below sums up the reasoning behind what the current administration is doing and why it is having adverse effects on the market. Chris Patel did a great job today explaining this more in depth on the market, and I think the thesis checks out. Number one, we have $7 trillion of debt that we need to pay in the next 6 months. If we don't pay it, we'll have to refinance. Trump does not want to refinance at a 4% plus rate. The 10-year at one point this year was 4.8%. 3, how do you get the 10-year to come down? markets need to show weakness in growth, Doge needs to be perceived as actually working, and interest rates need to come down. The way to do that is to create massive uncertainties, aka tariffs, which can slow down growth in the short term, get the bond market to start buying bonds ASAP because of how scared they are of touching stocks, causing yields to fall, which is what we need to refinance the debt. And then that gives the Fed the authority to lower rates, which would continue to bring yields down. So, although conventional wisdom says tariffs are inflationary and the 10-year should be spiking on more tariffs, it's actually going down because it's bringing so much uncertainty to the equity markets that people are selling stocks and buying bonds, which is exactly what the Trump administration wants to happen in the short term in order to bring refinancing costs down. Short-term pain for long-term gain. And check out this chart here. Guys, in 2025, right here, we have $7 trillion of debt that we got to hand over. So this is what President Trump was handed when he came into office. And if this was Kamala Harris, we would truly have no plan. We would have no long-term plan whatsoever. We would be still spinning our wheels. Another Twitter user says, quantitative easing is coming. The U.S. has $7 trillion in debt maturity coming in 2025. If you think Trump isn't going to bully the Fed into lowering interest rates ahead of issuing a 10-year bond that size, then you haven't been paying attention to how Trump operates. This man is always playing 4D chess. And this user said, he was quoting a super liberal here on Twitter, "We are winning so bigly." And so he says, when Trump defeats inflation by letting Biden's fake economy collapse and then rebuilding with supply side stimulus and lower interest rates, these leftists will never give him credit for it. And that is so true. Again, the greatest minds in the world are always counterintuitive. Okay, this is a different time than 2017. 2017, the economic conditions were much different than they are right now. We were left with a mess. And in order to clean up the mess, sometimes you have to take some unconventional actions. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing. And I think this part of his interview with Maria Bartiromo is an amazing way to finish it off. Just like the decree he gives here for the economy and his vision is everything, and you need to see this.
Well, I want a dynamic country where the private enterprise carries the day, not the government. And I want a strong country militarily. We need that nowadays. You can see that probably better than ever before. So I rebuilt our military. A lot of it was given away to Afghanistan, but it was a lot, but a very small portion, in all fairness. But when you think about the billions and billions of dollars that was just handed over, but I rebuilt it. We're going to be rebuilding it again because we need that. We always need that. But we're doing a series of incentives, tax incentives and other things. The tax bill, I think, is going to be very important. The Democrats will fight us all the way. One thing I learned the other night, again, I could say, because it's my fifth such speech. And at the beginning, I said, I didn't know it was going to be as pertinent as it turned out to be, that no matter what I do, this group of people in front of us, I could come up with the cure to the worst disease that the world has ever seen. I gave other examples. I said, no matter what I do, they're going to sit there angry, insolent. You just see it. I mean, you see it, you can feel it. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter who it is, they won't stand, they won't applaud, they won't clap. They'll just sit there with sour faces. And that's what they did. And, it was interesting. I said, I wonder if I should put this in, but it worked out to be true. And I think by putting it in, I showed that it was true. And it's sad because we're doing great things in this country. This country's really got a chance to be pretty quickly great again. I think the country's got a big light over it right now. And I've been told this by even other foreign leaders. We had Modi, we had everywhere. We had from France to India to about 12 that want to come in. They all want to be here. Every one of them wants to be here. We had the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom who was here, and he couldn't believe. He said the difference in terms of the feeling about the United States is very different.
And so, at the end of the day, this man knows what he is doing. He has a vision for our country. And did we really think that the golden age was going to come about just by random chance? Did we think it was just going to be easy? Did we think that it was just going to be, oh yeah, okay, golden age? No. Anything worthwhile is always going to come with a little bit of pressure. The old cliche is, how are diamonds created? With pressure. And I think that's what needs to happen. There's a little bit of squeezing out that needs to happen. There's nothing easy about these tariffs, and that's why no other foreign leader has ever wanted to issue tariffs, is because they were always afraid of what the consequences were. But Trump isn't afraid. Short term, things might be a little challenging, but I don't see this lasting very long. As this Twitter user here was saying, quantitative easing is coming, where is it at? Quantitative easing is coming, and it is coming fast, okay? Once we figure out some of this situation and once the Fed cuts rates, things are going to turn around in a big, big way. So anyways, if you like that video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video and share it with someone you know. Have a good one.